New video from our Skyfox drone is revealing the scope of the damage after fierce flames tore through a busy shopping center on St. Pete Beach. The fire broke out yesterday afternoon at the CVS pharmacy in the Dolphin Village strip mall right off Gulf Boulevard. It then reignited a few hours later and spread to several other businesses. They're expected to remain closed for quite some time. Fox 13's Kaylee Tracy spoke with a few business owners today and joins us live with the latest. Kaylee, any word yet on what caused the fires?
Well, Linda, crews have been out here all day working to answer that question, but as for right now, they don't have a cause just yet. Here behind me, though, crews have been working just in the past half hour on a lingering hot spot. You can see it forced them to knock down the wall here. You're looking at the side of what was the CVS. A total loss, we're told, and investigators and crews out here since the fire started yesterday. Thankfully, no injuries as people still tonight come out to see the damage for themselves. Many saying they're devastated and in disbelief.
I am speechless that something happened like this. This is my base, my home base.
That home base for so many in St. Pete Beach is gone, at least for now, after a fire tore through part of the Dolphin Village shopping center Tuesday. Raymond Stith works at Jersey Mike's next to the CVS and says he was on his break and about to go into the CVS when he saw smoke.
I kind of just sat in my car waiting around a little bit. All of a sudden, like 8 fire trucks start coming in.
A city spokesperson says the fire started at the CVS around 2:45 p.m. Tuesday, and several agencies from across the area responded. CVS's roof partially collapsed, but crews contained the fire around 6 p.m. Then, around 9 p.m., hot spots ignited in the building's front facade, and the fire spread, damaging several other stores like the Publix, Swim City, Hungry Howie's, an AT&T store, and the UPS. City staff says it was like a game of whack-a-mole, but crews contained the fire by 11:30 p.m. Nick Johnson's family owns Swim City next to CVS that just reopened in February.
We've, obviously dealt with the back-to-back hurricanes in the fall. It's extremely difficult for, a small family business.
And for the businesses in the plaza that are still open,
this is a major hub here for this entire community and also for beachgoers and visitors from all over the world or all over the country. This public is very integral to this community. So is the CVS. I mean, without this, we wouldn't have the foot traffic. This is a big loss, major loss.
Watching crews clean up charred debris, many say St. Pete Beach can't seem to catch a break.
It's devastating for the community. So it's going to be a difficult time for everybody. But something, St. Pete is strong and it'll come back. It came back after the hurricane.
And Publix and CVS representatives say employees can transfer to nearby stores while these locations are closed. If you have immediate prescription needs, CVS says go to the location in downtown St. Pete. That's on 54th Avenue South. UPS says it's redirecting mail and deliveries to the Seminole store. That's on Park Boulevard. As I mentioned, crews have been out here now for really over 24 hours. They have not left this scene as they continue, as I mentioned, here behind me to fight lingering hot spots. Just keeping an eye on this building that so many have said the damage here, when they see it in their own eyes, is just devastating. Guys, back to you.
Meantime, another tragedy here for 2 other families. An attempted drug-related robbery in Polk County turned into a double murder in a split second. One person was shot, the other was hit by a car, run over. Now 6 people, including several teenagers, are facing charges themselves, and communities all across the Bay Area are fighting to stop teenage violence. Fox 13's Carla Byron today spoke with one man who hopes to get kids on the right track.
3 teens are seen on this Secret Cove home surveillance video. You can't tell, but deputies say one is carrying a shotgun, another a handgun, and the third an AR-15. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says they wait until 19-year-old David Boutwell arrives in a white Mercedes before 17-year-old Alex Martinez shoots him.
Is there any morons in the world that don't understand that teenagers and guns and drugs end up with murder and death and destruction?
After being shot and killed, Boutwell crashed into a home at the end of the block and ran over an innocent bystander, 38-year-old Nathaniel Jones, who was visiting his brother in the neighborhood. The sheriff says 23-year-old Christian Guzman was the mastermind behind setting up the underage boys to rob Boutwell of his money and marijuana. But the plan failed.
I'm convinced he wanted the youngsters to commit, thinking that it wouldn't be as hard on them, But the reality is he didn't care.
Freddie Stevenson is a transformational speaker. He talks with troubled youth at schools and juvenile detention centers about overcoming adversity, something he knows about, having grown up in the inner city of Lakeland.
We only thought we had two alternatives: go pro in sports, or you were going to end up in the streets, whether that's on drugs or selling them.
He wants young people to know they can achieve success the right way, and he's a prime example. In 2019, he released the book, Trials to Triumph, which became a bestseller and eventually a documentary.
I didn't know that you can make films and tell your story and get it streaming worldwide. And there are people that actually care about what you're going through in these areas. These kids don't know that. But there are people that are doing it legitly, and they're making way more than these people you see on the streets. But they're selling you this fantasy lifestyle.
They've got a lifetime they're facing in prison over a failed robbery.
In Polk County, Carla Byron, Fox 13 News.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with me today. As I told you the other day, I would give you a wrap-up on our double murder investigation that occurred in Secret Cove. Before I do that, we're going to kind of lay out how this occurred because, as you're going to see in a minute, we've got a lot of suspects involved in this, but we want you to see the video. First, we're going to show it to you without sound so that we can pause it and I can explain what it is that you're not only seeing now, but what I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. So this is, there's just a lot of moving parts, and you'll understand once we go through it. Okay, this is at the entrance. You come off of Reynolds Road. And let us stop it right there, okay, if you will. Okay, the first person there is Alex Martinez. He's 17 years of age. He, you'll learn later, is carrying a 9mm handgun. The one behind him is David Ewell. And I'll run it through again, and if you'll watch him as he walks, he's got a shotgun down his pants leg. And then on the other side, watch him as he walks. See how he's walking like Chester, a little stiff-legged. Okay, stop there. The other guy that's running there, we believe has an AR-15 in his pants. Now understand the far guy is 18 years of age. He's Anthony Roush. David Ewell, the one with a shotgun, is 15 years of age. Did you hear what I said? He's 15 years of age and he's got a shotgun down his pants. And the lead is Alex. Now before we move on, right now the victim's white Mercedes is out of camera shot, and just around the corner there's actually another apartment and then the intersection. So let's go ahead and play through it for just a second. As you can see, Anthony's running over there. He's going to be in the bushes as a lookout. You see him over there. He's got his gun. They've made a tactical approach. That vehicle has nothing to do with it. This vehicle's just a lady coming home with her child, and she has nothing to do with it. This is one of our victims of the murder. He has nothing to do with it. He's just riding his electric bike, minding his own business. Our victim / suspect's been shot, and he runs. You see our suspect, Anthony, run out of the woods there. Now they're all scattering. Let's back up and look at it one more time without sound. And then in a minute, I'm going to play it with sound so you can hear the gunshot and hear all the revving of the engine. So there they are. They've taken up position. What you're going to find out is Alex went to the car. David stayed on the front porch of this house next door. And Alex is the one we believe at this point in the investigation did the shooting. This lady's just trying to come home. She doesn't know anything about anything. There's our victim who is run over in just a few seconds, minding his own business. Okay, you see our suspect is running from the car, or running after the car makes the corner. All right, this vehicle here has nothing to do with it. We would, however, like to find those people and talk to them, because they obviously had the ability to see this guy sprint out of the woods. So we are still mopping up witnesses and that sort of thing. All right, now let's play it a time or two with sound. Okay, and we'll play it again in just a second with sound. You'll hear the distinct pop. You'll hear the engine race as he comes around the corner. He's shot. You'll also hear a kind of a pause. Then you hear the engine race again. Then he hits the bike and the house. Turn it up a little louder, Carrie. You can hear two hits. You can hear when he hits the motor, or the bicycle, the electric bicycle, and then hits the house. And he pushes him into the house and underneath the car. Okay, let me introduce you to the players here. This is Jessica Chambers. She's 19 years of age. She is dating Alex, our shooter. Alex Martinez is 17. Jessica Chambers is 19. We have another video of them coming out of the house where Kristen Guzman, who's 23, lives. They came from his house in order to go to Secret Cove to commit the robberies. So there's Jessica's in the car. Isabella, who's 21, is in the car. She is holding her 1-year-old. Jessica's holding the 4-year-old, but they've got this 1-year-old and 4-year-old baby here. Alex is in the car. Kristen's in the car. and I believe Anthony's in the car, and I'm sorry, David's in the car, and Anthony arrives, or Anthony's in the car, and David's already there because they have relatives in the neighborhood. Kristen, who's 23, is the mastermind of the robbery. Why does he get Alex, who's 17, or David, who's 15, involved in it? And I don't know why Anthony did, because he's an adult. Well, Kristen knows that, hey, if this is a robbery, it'll probably go easier on the 15 and 17-year-old because they're juveniles. At least he thinks that. The 19-year-old victim driving the white Mercedes, did you hear what I said? Only 19. Has sold Kristen Guzman marijuana before. So there was no reason for our 19-year-old victim to be booed up about selling dope, freaked out about, because he sold to Kristen before. So they set up the meeting at this intersection. Our victim, who's 19, driving a Mercedes AMG, has 2 one-pound bags of marijuana and a thick wad of cash with him, as we explained the other night. Our victim, who's 19, is going to live forever. He's living in infamy in movies. You know, as I said the other day, he's got "Life is a Gamble" tattooed on one hand, and "The world is yours," a Scarface quote, tattooed on his chest. So they all leave about 12:47. I would say maybe 1.5 miles, 2 miles at the most, is where Kristen Guzman lives. He's driving, and they drop off David, Alex, and Anthony, and that's where you see them walking up. As you know, Alex has got a 9mm, David's got a shotgun, and from everything we can tell, it looks like Anthony has an AR, a rifle. So they plan their mission. You hear the pop, you hear the car race off, you hear our 38-year-old victim, who has nothing to do with this except the poor guy's riding the bike in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's hit, driven into this apartment, this house. The car's completely in the house, and he's rolled up underneath it and killed instantly. They all flee. Alex goes back to the apartment that's just off the view here, picks up the shotgun off of the porch, and he takes his hoodie off, wraps that around the shotgun, and dumps it behind the convenience store at Reynolds Road. Some of you asked the other day, what evidence did you get? And you see where the events took place. The shotgun behind the convenience store, the intersection where the robbery was, and then the vehicle inside of the home. Kristen Guzman, who's still in the car, Jessica, who's in the car, and Isabel, who's in the car, then flee, and they scoop up and go back to the residence. Now, what's interesting, Kristen talks to us. He thinks we're going to have a drug ripoff, right? And he knows they're armed, and now he's got a double murder on his hand. He probably didn't know it was a double murder. He probably didn't know that the guy was run over on the bike, or maybe he did. So our suspect, the shooter, said, hey, I crashed out and shot the guy. Kristen tells Jessica, take your boyfriend and get him out of my house. Get him out of here. So Jessica takes Alex back to the Motel 6 on Highway 98 North in Lakeland, where he lives with his mother. The investigation unfolds, and we encounter Alex and his mother at Lakeland Regional Health. They're there checking on her mother, who is apparently being treated or maybe in the hospital. The mother tells us, my son didn't have anything to do with any of this. And we showed her the video clip of her son. She immediately identified him, started hitting him, and saying, I told you to stay away from those people in that area. And he said spontaneously to his mama, I didn't shoot anybody. To which she said, it doesn't matter if you shot or not, you were there. Mama cooperated as much as the mama could. But let me take this a step further. Our 19-year-old drug dealer, who's a victim of a murder, is on probation. David Yule, who's 15 years of age, is on house arrest pending felony charges. Kristen Guzman is on felony probation. Anthony Roush is on felony probation. Isabella and Jessica have no criminal history. Alex, who went from no criminal arrest to 2 counts of first-degree murder and conspiracy to rob and a litany of other charges, went from 0 criminal history to 2 counts of first-degree murder. And this is the mastermind. The investigation's still underway. But there's some of you would say, well, those poor children. We'll get over that real quick, okay? Let me show you a picture. This is from April. Anthony is holding the rifle and wearing the Good Vibes shirt. I don't think he had any good vibes that day. And then there's Alex standing next to him with a Return to Neverland tour. I understand that is a gospel rap artist. But interestingly enough, our victim, who was 38 years of age, when I arrived at the scene, I kept hearing gospel music. And I looked around, and his cell phone was on the ground. When he was riding his bike this particular day, he was listening to gospel music, and his cell phone was still playing the gospel music when we arrived at the scene and found him deceased. None of this should have happened. This has everything to do with teenagers and guns and drugs. Did you hear what I said? Is there any morons in the world that don't understand that teenagers and guns and drugs end up with murder and death and destruction? This was a horrible thing. The 19-year-old was absolutely wrong. He was on probation, but he was big time, but he still shouldn't have died. He still shouldn't have been shot. And when he was shot, the bullet went in the right side, crossed through his body, came out the left side, and that's why he bled to death in just a matter of seconds. But he was trying to get away from being shot anymore. He was shot once, and that was enough to cause his death. It's sad, but the fact remains. We stand up here at this podium, and I love social media saying all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh, it's not the drugs, it's not the drugs. Listen, look at these folks. Let me say this again. Probation, our 19-year-old on probation, the 18-year-old on probation, the 15-year-old on house arrest. Oh, by the way, newsflash, I know this is an Einstein moment. He wasn't at home where he's supposed to be on house arrest. It doesn't have to be like that, but there's an underworld that thinks money and drugs and guns are cool. And now we have 2 kids, 6 people locked up for murder, a dead 19-year-old. It's really a sad situation.
Okay, I'll entertain any questions you have. We are petitioning the state attorney to charge all of them as adults.
Also, you mentioned something about the fellow Christian, who left, and then this happened, and you said that he was speaking with you, but he was kind of thinking it was a drug issue. He didn't realize at the time that there had been deaths involved. Is that right?
No, Kristen, by the time he talked to us, knew there were deaths involved. But initially, he ran from the scene. Obviously, wherever he was in the community, he either saw or heard the vehicle crash. So he probably didn't know what all happened, but he knew this, that the deal went bad. So, riddle me this. How much money and drugs did the bad guys get? Zero. Nothing. They killed 2 people. They've got a lifetime they're facing in prison over a failed robbery that I'm convinced he wanted the youngsters to commit, thinking that it wouldn't be as hard on them. But the reality is he didn't care. Except that while he masterminded it, he picked up 2 first-degree murder charges.
How did he come about being spoken to?
Kristen, our detectives, who are the very best, by the way, and you might be interested in this, in 17 years, we've had 2 unsolved murders. Did you hear that? That's pretty sporty, right? And in one of those 2, we have all the players identified, but it was a gang deal and nobody's talking, so there you go. 17 years, 2 unsolved murders. You can be assured of this. If you commit crime, you're on somebody's camera someplace, number 1. Number 2, if you commit a murder in this county, my homicide team, who is without a doubt the absolute total best, will find you and will bring you to justice. 2 have escaped us in 17 years, and one of the 2, we know who did that. And the other one was a long time ago, before the cameras were as prolific as they are today. So, for all of you masterminds of crime with 4 brain cells, understand this. You're always recorded someplace. And we're going to get you and put you in prison. We would rather these folks on probation had been locked up someplace, then none of this would have happened. If Kristen, instead of probation, was locked up, he couldn't have masterminded this unless he did it from inside a jail. But even if he tried to, the victim who was going to sell the drugs, if he was locked up, wouldn't have been out there to sell the drugs in the first place. And if David Yule was home on house arrest, he could have thanked his lucky stars for being on house arrest if he'd obeyed that at 15. Now they're all jammed up.
Again, how did the detectives come about, finding him and speaking with him?
A great deal of investigative work that I'm not going to share with you today. That's a clue. That's an answer.
All the suspects facing murder charges, did you say?
Jessica is not. Isabella is not. Jessica is facing contributing, conspiracy to rob, and false information and accessory after the fact. Isabella is charged with conspiracy to commit robbery, 2 counts of child neglect, false information during a felony investigation, murder investigation, and once again, accessory. They are both 21 and 19. They're both adults.
But when you look at that chart, they're all kids.
Yeah, they are.
They killed 2 people. Now they've ruined their lives too. Talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. There's no winners here. There's absolutely no winners. The oldest one's only 23. This one's 15, 18, 17, 21, 19. Teenagers, kids. They're kids. But they were doing adult, mean, bad crime. Listen, this is nothing but
a thug robbery gone bad. And Alex's mama looked him in the eye and said, I told you to stay away from that place. But he didn't. He went back running with his buds, and it got them all locked up for murder. 2 counts.
And I know you mentioned mastermind. You use that word more than once, but I imagine this wasn't the most well thought out crime.
Well, they had their plan going until the 17-year-old freaked out and shot the guy. Now, interestingly enough, our 19-year-old drug-dealing victim did not have a firearm. He had a wad of cash, he had a lot of dope, he did not have a firearm. I don't suspect he anticipated problem because he had dealt with Kristen before. So he went there thinking it's another marijuana deal. Make a little money. They had no intention of doing anything other than robbing him of his cash and of his dope. Thank you all very much. I appreciate you being with us today.
While most of the Bay Area is sleeping, the dispatchers at the Manatee County 911 Center are wide awake, answering calls that no one ever wants to make.
And in today's edition of our Tampa Bay 24/7 series, we meet some of the staff who work through the night to keep our community safe. Fox 13 photojournalist Ryan French takes us behind the scenes.
Manatee County 911, what is the address of the emergency? Listen, I want you to lock your doors and windows. I understand. Okay.
A copy of James 312. I'll show you responding at 2356.
Sir, can you hear me? I can hear you.
Got 2 vehicles, moderate damage. Need MSO for traffic control.
Okay, are you able to get yourself to safety?
Alva 16, 6%, 701 1st Street, East Bradenton. Respond attack 4.
Manatee County 911, what is the address of the emergency?
My name is Christina Wurzberger, and I'm a senior telecommunicator on the night shift. So tonight we're at the Manatee County Emergency Communications Center. We're on the ECC floor. We take calls for police, fire, and EMS, but we dispatch for fire and EMS.
Manatee County 911, what is the address of the emergency?
Our shift starts at 1900 hours, 7 p.m. We work 12-hour shifts, 7 p to 7 a. We see each other more than we see our own families. So essentially, this is our home away from home. This is our family, and we've developed close relationships with the people that we work with.
We're on our ship now, and this is my shipmate. I'm always having fun and laughing and cutting up and making jokes. It's how I get through the day. It's how I get through my life. But I lead by example. When you need to do it, you do it. I did call FHP and update them that you guys were going to remain on scene. They said they're still en route. They'll get somebody out there as soon as they can. This job is a learning process no matter what. I've done this job for years, and if you're not learning, you should no longer be in this field because it is forever changing.
He did say that there was an emergency, but didn't say what for. It's an open line.
There are certain pieces of information that we need to gather.
Okay.
Most importantly, the information that we're gathering is not delaying response.
All right, I'm going to get you on over to the sheriff's office in case they have any further questions for you, but we do have help on the way, okay?
And we need your phone number. We need your address. And then based on your emergency, we need you to answer the questions to the best of your ability. And if you don't know, you're allowed to say you don't know. We have a lot of technology at our fingertips. Our best conduit of information is still going to be that caller.
Okay, Jamie, don't yell at her, please, okay? Is she responding normally?
A lot of times when you're a new telecommunicator, you will take this stuff on your heart. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take it on your heart because you are a human. First and foremost, you will always be a human. As much as you don't want to and you're not supposed to, you're going to take it home with you. Because this job, you're taking call after call after call after call. And the cumulative stress, it will add up. And sometimes you don't know how it's coming out because to you it's your normal, but it's not the normal.
If you think you can leave safely, I want you to get away now and tell me where you're going, okay?
My most favorite part by far is to be able to help people. I live in this county. I love being able to help the people that I work for in the county that I live in. So I just, try to be the calm voice for them.
Okay, and then just let me know if he's conscious and breathing.
Wow. It's such a tough job.
I know, amazing.
Nice story. Put
A
together
very nice
for
story.
us. We love this
Florida
series.
journalist Ryan French.
Yeah.
Well done.
In March and April alone, Manatee County telecommunicators were credited with helping to save the lives of 11 people by guiding 911 callers through CPR.
And on average, the center processes 23,000 911 calls every single month. Wow. Now, if you have an idea about an overnight job for us to feature, for Ryan to highlight for you, send us an email, gooddaytampabay@fox.com.
We are learning that there are some serious questions as to whether a University of Miami football player involved in that deadly crash over the weekend in Largo should have been behind the wheel at all. 2 children and a woman in Largo died when their car was hit by a Dodge Durango driven by Adarius Hayes. No charges have been filed, but police are still investigating. Our Fox 13's Genevieve Curtis has been digging into this case out of Miami. Genevieve, what'd you find?
Yeah, Allie, in September 2024, Adarius Hayes was cited for racing on a highway, driving over 90 miles per hour against another car. That case was set to go to trial, but prosecutors dropped that case in February. Under Florida state law, the charge he was facing requires a driver's license be suspended for a year if convicted. The citation shows the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office cited Hayes for racing in a Dodge along US 41 in a residential area going over 90 miles per hour. The car he was driving during Saturday's crash, a Dodge Durango SRT, is a performance vehicle that can reach speeds of up to 150 miles per hour. We asked the Miami-Dade State Attorney, Catherine Fernandez Randall's office, why the charges were dropped. We asked if it had anything to do with the fact that he plays for the University of Miami, where the state attorney is an alumni. A spokesperson denied that, saying, quote, the officer said he had no recollection of the incident. As such, any criminal defense attorney would not advise their client to plead to something when there is no recollection by the officer. Court documents show there was officer body cam video in that incident introduced into evidence. We asked about that. We have not received a response. Since the case was dropped in February, Hayes has received 2 speeding tickets. On March 29th, Miami-Dade PD cited him for going 80 in a 45, and on March 1st, he was cited for going 84 in a 55 in Clearwater. He elected to take a driving course and pay a fine. We have also reached out to the Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office about this, as well as the attorney who represented Hayes on that charge. Again, there are no charges in the case in Largo. We'll update you when we learn more.
For decades, the television show Cops has put law enforcement officers from across the country front and center on our TVs, giving viewers the closest look possible at what our first responders deal with on a daily basis. And the next season of Cops will shine the spotlight on the Manatee County Sheriff's Office. Fox 13's Kimberly Cuizon shows us a bit of what viewers will see.
It's a rare look behind the scenes of what deputies in Manatee County experience every single day. And for the last 8 weeks, the long-running show Cops has been on the streets with Manatee deputies. You likely know it from its catchy tune or their takedowns on TV. The show Cops has spanned generations, and their mission has remained to give those watching a look into the lives of law enforcement officers as they work to keep their communities safe. Crews with Cops have been riding with deputies on every shift and with every division. Manatee Sheriff Rick Wells says there's one goal for the nation to see.
I just want them to see how professional, my men and women are here, and how they put up with so much diversity each and every day, and how they conduct themselves, and how they go about doing their job, and how much pride they have in making sure that they keep this community safe.
They don't know the troubles that we go through handling calls for service on a daily basis, and seeing the exact moment from the moment we get out of the car to the time we get back in the car, what experiences and trauma that we have to deal with every day.
As their episodes air, Manatee deputies will showcase the action-packed times, from high-risk traffic stops to domestic-related calls, to the lighter side of Manatee County, even showing a glimpse of the DeSoto Grand Parade. You'll be able to catch their episodes on season 38 next spring, and they'll be airing on Fox Nation. In Manatee County, Kimberly Cuizon, Fox 13 News.